THX 1138, directed and co-written by George Lucas in 1971, is the story about a character stuck in a dystopian future of unspecified year or place. This movie was George Lucas's directorial debut, and he hit it right out of the park on his first try. As you know, he would go on to write and direct Star Wars only 6 years later, which became a cultural phenomenon and billions of dollars of success that lasts to this day. His more recent editing of Star Wars leaves much to be desired, of course, but the 2004 director's cut of THX 1138 is nothing short of masterful, an example of how to add to a movie by making necessary changes and never, ever taking away from the original movie. The director's cut shows new footage, corrected audio and visuals, and CGI done right. Because of the uncensored nudity during the sex scene, the new edition is the only movie by Lucas to have an R rating. The character, known as THX 1138, or Tex for short, experiences a sort of awakening when his roommate and subsequent lover, LUH or La, changes his mind-altering drugs in order to get him to notice her sexually and romantically, something that is not possible while drugged. It's not clear how LUH awakened, but it is clear that something made her want THX and made the effort to get the interest reciprocated. In the meantime, other people, slightly more powerful people, may have wanted the same thing. The Donald Pleasance character, SEN, who is a little higher on the totem pole, also tries to get with THX and arranges to have his roommate reassigned, eventually disappeared, so he can move in with THX.
We'll be happy.
Eventually, Tex gets caught avoiding his government-mandated drugs, partially from confessing in confession booths, where the cold, lifeless eyes of the deity image watches. Tex gets charged with criminal drug evasion, but not before being mind-locked and almost blown up from radiation. Tex's defense attorney seems less than competent, and Tex gets convicted. Spared execution, because that would be inefficient, he is sent to prison to be re-educated. Now mentally awake, Tex refuses to comply and escapes the prison to search for LUH. The lack of drugs in the system make mind lock impossible, so he has free movement as central control loses track of him. He meets up with a hologram from TV and transverses the nightmarish underworld while fleeing the robot police force. Ironically, the system of total control is what saves THX. The government has everything so controlled they have a total expenditure cap set for the fugitive hunt. Once the budget gets exceeded by a certain percent, the pursuit is called off, leaving Tex to achieve his freedom. In a powerful final shot, Tex opens an exterior hatch, goes above ground for the first time in his life. He is awestruck as he breathes the open air, sees the land, and watches the setting sun. Birds fly in a subtle hint that life has been sustained above ground and there may be a world to survive in outside. So why is this movie so great? This movie is an allegory that seems to be more relevant by the day. The inspiration from 1984 and Brave New World are obvious. The government is all-knowing and all-seeing, just like in 1984, and the people are drugged into obedient, mostly happy stupors like in Brave New World. One of the more relevant scenes is when Tex talks to Ohm. Ohm is the deity character. The AI is cold and uncaring. The image is Hans Memling's Christ the Redeemer, which to me is a brutal portrait. There is no love in these all-seeing eyes. The AI speech is just a recording. Kind of reminds me of having conversations with ChatGPT. I wonder, will these chatbots eventually become officers like in the movie? Companies such as Boston Dynamics are no doubt working on a prototype. Just like in the home boxes, your conversations with the chatbot are recorded, analyzed, accessed by parties unknown, but can assuredly include the vast surveillance system of the intelligence agencies. What is very much real in all three worlds, 1984, THX 1138, and the world we know, is that Big Brother is always watching. Big Brother always watching means so much more than just video cameras on every corner or the government recording every keystroke of your computer. It's also a description of the populace being the willing assets of the intelligence agency, the Ministry of Truth, as neighbors, loved ones, even children report people for real or perceived crime. Thought police is mostly just your peers policing you and turning you in. The style is retrofuturism at its best. This is the late 1960s, early 70s vision of a distant future where punch card computers with giant interfaces with knobs and buttons, CRT screens, and magnetic audio tape run the world. It's an imperfect future world, as shown throughout in often comical fashion. People pile into the elevator like robots and don't listen to the audio message that the elevator is not working. Robot enforcement officers sometimes malfunction. There's no flying cars, but the cars all look like beautiful V8 racing cars. TV shows are holograms. George Lucas perfectly gets the analogies and comparisons with then 1971, but also current TV. Political shows are boring, droning on about nothing. News shows show the police beating somebody to scare the viewers. There's even a porn channel. Comedy show is reminiscent of certain comedy shows that aren't really funny, but the audience sure thinks it's a hoot every time any character opens their mouth and says absolutely anything at all. By the way, when I say TV shows are holograms, even the actors are holograms. Really, they can move around in the world just like regular people, but they're not really there. If you haven't noticed, with recent AI takeover, the future is coming at us at ludicrous speed. AI is taking over jobs in numerous fields, including writing, any creative field, all of the arts, coding, and computer science jobs, on and on. Chatbots are appearing everywhere, AI-assisted everything. All that means companies are trying to save money, meaning there will be an insanely high unemployment rate soon, which means the government will have to do something eventually. In the world of this movie, every moment is recorded and analyzed. Everything you do is being watched. Today, they spy on people with devices in everyone's pockets and transmit the subtle mind programming through black mirrors on everybody's wall. This is similar to the eavesdropping in the movie and Big Brother screens in 1984. Things that happen on the screen may not be real. They may not be happening at all. Wars may be invented, boogeymen assigned and changed. Things are shown to scare us or manipulate our emotions. Events are invented whole cloth for numerous purposes, including taxpayer theft, manufactured nation rivalries, and psychological operation. Today, we are drugged just as much as the people in this movie. All babies born in the U.S. and pretty much any country will receive dozens of government-mandated injections of drugs. In adult, we are still recommended to get injected, boosted, sedated, all for the good of the masses, by the masses, and for the masses. We are told to buy more, and be happy. Maybe the movie is not so much of an allegory, but an actual representation of our world. Was George Lucas Nostradamus? Did he see the writing on the wall? Or maybe the world was bad in 1971 and just continues to get worse. Gene Siskel seems to agree, saying some people might claim that the world of THX 1138 is here right now. A more reasonable opinion would be that we are facing the problems of that world right now. No, we are not anywhere near the stage of shaving all our heads and wearing the same clothes. But with the current state of the economy, the government is going to have to introduce some kind of basic income, with the catch that people receiving it are under some kind of extreme control. The totalitarian tiptoe continues. You have to wonder, is there a way out of this hellish existence of extreme control? The prison in THX 1138. Tex is placed in a prison with no walls or bars, just nothing but white as far as you can see. None of the prisoners seem interested in even attempting to walk to see where the walls or doors are. This may be an analogy of our own open-air prison. Look around right now, and as far as you can see is the system of control. I can walk in one direction and eventually reach the end of this country, but it is immediately the beginning of another country. It's the same in the water even. 1 second you're in one system of control, and the very next second you are in another. Are there people out there right now who are born out of the system somewhere on an island or some jungle, who are not given dozens of injections and any hundreds of drugs to keep you working on the hamster wheel? What would those people be like? In THX 1138, there are tunnel dwellers, basically almost wild animals. This may be because of the controlled reproduction. People are not just test tube babies where fertilization happens. They are actually grown in jars instead of wombs. There are references to birthborns, but we have to assume that even those babies are manufactured like GMOs to need constant drugs or they go insane from withdrawal and dependencies. I like to think that Tex got out and lived above ground. Maybe he found people up there. People with books and learning and no over-controlling government. No fake religions with fake God booths where your confessions are recorded, analyzed. There may be problems out there as well, but we wouldn't know, just as Tex didn't know. He ascended that ladder, like smoke billowing, swirling towards the ceiling, toward the vent, with nothing but a black abyss beyond and no way of knowing what will happen when you go through that portal. You may say the same as we sentient beings exist in time, and with each tick of the clock, we are 1 second closer to that black, unknowable abyss at the end. THX ascended, took his chances outside. By luck, he was able to open the hatch. He could have gone down to the prison to live out his days, re-educated, dazed, sedated, or go out into the harsh surface where he would be free, but where he may starve or freeze to death in the vast, truly undiscovered country of the unknown future. The question is, what would you do? So what is the point of this video? Of course, I think you should watch the movie. As of this posting, the movie is on Max, but I also wanted to make a video as yet another reminder of what the world could look like. I know it's cliche to say we live in a world like 1984, but if the shoe fits, some of the same warnings these authors and visionaries were trying to make in their books and movies of the near and far future still ring true and deserve repeating. Some may say you don't have much of a choice. Stop and think about what choices you do have. Don't forget, it's also a constant struggle for your mind. You do not have to believe what society, the government, or even your social circle pushes on you if you have reason to believe they are wrong or simply feel in your heart it is not true. Personally, I think they'll play the alien card before they have mind lock devices implanted into us. But before the devices and mind-altering drugs are mandated, you can still choose what to believe, what you hear, and what you see, especially if it is on a screen of any kind. For now, your mind is the only thing they can't take from you. That may be the only defense you have left. So for now, in the meantime, subscribe and be happy.